Welcome to the iHistory channel. Today we delve into an intriguing topic, the perceived loss of masculinity in modern society. This is a conversation that has been simmering beneath the surface for years, with many expressing concerns about the shifting sands of masculinity. Masculinity, in its traditional sense, has been associated with strength, stoicism, and control. It's been tied to the image of the breadwinner, the protector, the one who does not show vulnerability. This is a stereotype that has been perpetuated, often leading to harmful consequences for men who feel they must uphold these expectations at all costs. But what is masculinity really? Is it a fixed concept? Or is it something that evolves with society? As we explore this question, we can see that the definition of masculinity is far from static. It's fluid, changing with the times and shaped by cultural, societal, and individual interpretations. Over the past few decades, we've seen a significant shift in societal expectations of masculinity. The focus has moved from physical strength and dominance to emotional intelligence and empathy. Men are no longer expected to suppress their feelings or to solve problems with aggression. Instead, there's a growing acceptance of men expressing vulnerability, seeking help, and sharing their emotions. This shift is not a loss of masculinity, but rather a redefinition. It's a move towards a more holistic understanding of what it means to be a man. This doesn't mean that traditional masculine traits are obsolete. Instead, it's about acknowledging that these traits are part of a wider spectrum of behaviors and attitudes that can be embraced by men. As we journey through this topic, let's keep in mind that masculinity is not a monolith, but a spectrum of behaviors and attitudes. It's about recognizing the diversity within the concept of masculinity and understanding that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to being a man. So join us as we explore the changing face of masculinity in our society today. The face of masculinity has significantly evolved. Let's examine why. The concept of masculinity has been fluid throughout history, reflecting shifts in societal norms, economic structures, and collective consciousness. With the advent of the 21st century, we have seen a metamorphosis in how masculinity is understood and expressed. One of the pivotal factors contributing to this change is the evolution of societal norms. Traditional notions of masculinity, which often equated strength with stoicism and emotional suppression, are giving way to a more expansive understanding. Today, emotional intelligence, vulnerability, and empathy are increasingly recognized as integral components of masculinity. This shift is not a loss, but rather an enrichment of the masculine identity. Changes in work and family structures also play a part. The Industrial Revolution, for instance, saw men predominantly in labor-intensive roles, reinforcing the association of masculinity with physical strength. However, the rise of knowledge and service-based industries in recent decades has disrupted this narrative, placing emphasis on intellectual prowess and communication skills. The evolution of family structures has further blurred traditional gender roles. Men are no longer exclusively seen as the breadwinner, but also as caregivers, actively participating in child-rearing and household chores. This shift has broadened the scope of masculinity, proving that it's far more multifaceted than society used to believe. Finally, the increased awareness and acceptance of mental health issues have had a profound effect. Men are now encouraged to openly discuss their feelings and seek help when needed, challenging the outdated notion that real men don't cry. This acceptance of emotional transparency has led to a healthier, more holistic interpretation of masculinity. These shifts in societal norms and expectations have had significant impacts on men's behavior and self-perception. A new face of masculinity is emerging, one that embraces a broader, more nuanced spectrum of identities. This does not denote a loss of masculinity, but rather its evolution in response to the changing world. We are witnessing a transition from a rigid, monolithic understanding of masculinity towards a more fluid, inclusive concept that celebrates diversity and individuality. In the next section, we'll delve deeper into the impact of these changes on men's health and societal dynamics. Stay tuned. And now let's delve into the science. What does research say about men's testosterone levels and mental health over the years? Testosterone, the primary male sex hormone, plays a crucial role in men's mental health. Traditionally associated with masculinity, testosterone influences mood, energy, and stress response. Studies over the years indicate that men's testosterone levels have been gradually declining. This trend, observed over several decades, has raised questions about its potential effects on mental health and social behavior. Research shows a clear correlation between low testosterone levels and mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, and stress. Men with lower testosterone levels often report feelings of fatigue, lack of motivation, and reduced self-confidence. These are all symptoms typically associated with depression and anxiety disorders. In terms of social behavior, low testosterone levels can result in decreased assertiveness and competitiveness, traits traditionally associated with masculinity. Some researchers argue that these changes in behavior could contribute to the perceived loss of masculinity in modern society. However, it's important to note that the relationship between testosterone and mental health is complex. For instance, while low testosterone levels can lead to depression, depression itself can also lead to lower testosterone levels. Similarly, although testosterone might influence social behavior, social and environmental factors can also affect testosterone levels. So while testosterone levels and mental health are undeniably intertwined, they are part of a complex web of biological, psychological, and social factors. It's also crucial to remember that individual experiences can vary greatly. Not all men with low testosterone levels will experience mental health issues, and not all men with mental health issues have low testosterone levels. Furthermore, the decline in testosterone levels does not necessarily signal a loss of masculinity. Masculinity is not solely defined by biological factors, but is also shaped by cultural, social, and personal interpretations. The concept of masculinity is fluid and has evolved over time, reflecting changes in societal norms and values. While the data is compelling, it's essential to remember that correlation does not imply causation. It's a complex issue that requires further research and open dialogue, moving beyond stereotypes and embracing a more inclusive understanding of masculinity. How has this perceived loss of masculinity impacted society at large? A question that, like a pebble tossed into a pond, sends ripples of thought across the surface of our understanding. In the grand sphere of society, the changes in masculinity have been a catalyst for a shift in gender roles. Traditionally, men were viewed as the breadwinners, the providers, the strong and silent types. But as the perception of masculinity evolves, so too do these roles. Men are now encouraged to express their emotions openly, to be involved in child-rearing, and to share domestic responsibilities. This shift has brought about a more balanced dynamic in households, fostering environments where cooperation and shared responsibility are the norms. But it's not just about who does the dishes or picks up the kids from school. The change in masculinity has also had profound implications on family structures. Single fatherhood is on the rise, and the idea of the stay-at-home dad is no longer seen as an anomaly. Men are redefining what it means to be a father, a husband, a man in the 21st century, yet every coin has two sides, and the evolving concept of masculinity has not been without its challenges. The societal pressure for men to be more open and more involved can, in some cases, lead to confusion or feelings of inadequacy. The potential impact on mental health is significant, with studies showing an increase in anxiety and depression among men who feel they don't measure up to these new standards. Furthermore, the shift in masculinity has also sparked a broader conversation about gender roles and identities. The lines between masculine and feminine are becoming blurred, leading to a more inclusive and diverse understanding of gender. So what does this all mean for society? It means change, evolution, growth. It means challenging old norms and embracing new perspectives. It means understanding that masculinity is not a fixed concept, but one that can adapt and transform. As we've seen, the changes in masculinity have far-reaching effects, influencing individual lives and societal structures. The ripple effect of this shift continues to shape our world, creating a society where the concept of masculinity is as diverse and dynamic as the men who embody it. So what can we do about this perceived loss of masculinity? It's an important question, and while it may not have a one-size-fits-all answer, we can certainly propose a few solutions that could help us move in the right direction. Firstly, we need to promote healthier definitions of masculinity. It's essential to understand that masculinity isn't a rigid construct. It's a spectrum, and it's high time we embrace its diversity. Let's encourage men to express their emotions, to be nurturing, and to seek help when needed. Let's celebrate the strength in vulnerability, and let's make sure boys are taught that there's more than one way to be a man. Secondly, we must provide better mental health support for men. The alarming rates of male suicides and mental health issues are not mere statistics, they are a call to action. We need to create safe spaces where men can share their experiences and feelings without fear of judgment. Let's ensure that mental health services are accessible, inclusive, and tailored to the unique needs of men. Lastly, societal acceptance of a broader range of masculine behaviors is vital. We live in a diverse society, and our understanding of masculinity should reflect that diversity. We need to challenge and change societal norms that stigmatize men who don't conform to traditional masculine stereotypes. It's not about discarding the old, but about making room for the new. In summary, our approach should be multifaceted, addressing individual, societal, and systemic levels. It's not about reclaiming a lost masculinity, but about redefining it for a more inclusive future. It's about understanding that masculinity is not a monolithic concept, but a varying and evolving one. It's important to remember that change takes time, and it's a collective effort. We all have a part to play in this, from parents and teachers to policymakers and media. We need to foster a society where every man can feel comfortable in his masculinity, however he chooses to define it. These approaches can help us navigate the changing landscape of masculinity, promoting healthier, more inclusive definitions of what it means to be a man. In conclusion, the perception of masculinity has indeed changed, but is it really a loss? Across the span of our conversation, we've taken a journey through the shifting sands of masculinity, charting its evolution from a rigid, singular concept to a more fluid, diverse understanding. We've seen how changes in environmental, social, and medical factors have impacted what it means to be masculine, and how these changes have affected men's testosterone levels, mental health, and societal behavior. We've also discussed the ripple effects of these changes on our society at large, touching on the potential for increased empathy, understanding, and acceptance that this more nuanced view of masculinity offers. Yet we've also acknowledged the challenges that these changes bring, particularly for those who may feel lost or confused within this new paradigm. In light of these shifts, we've proposed several potential solutions. We've underscored the importance of education, of fostering open conversations about masculinity, and of challenging outdated stereotypes. We've highlighted the value of providing support for men's mental health, and of recognizing the diversity within the concept of masculinity itself. Yet, as we conclude, it's crucial to remember that while we can propose solutions, it's up to each of us to reflect on our own perceptions of masculinity. It's up to us to challenge our own biases, to engage in these important conversations, and to contribute to a healthier, more inclusive understanding of masculinity. So let's ask ourselves, how can we contribute to these changes? How can we promote a more diverse, inclusive, and healthy understanding of masculinity in our society? In the end, the loss of traditional masculinity might not be a loss at all, but rather a step towards more empathetic, understanding society that values individuals for who they are, not the roles they're expected to play. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe to the iHistory channel, like and share. Also, don't forget to activate the notification bell. Before we conclude, we would like to thank all the researchers and experts who contributed to this video. Their insights and data have been essential in understanding the evolution of masculinity in our society. Let's give a shout out to Dr. Jane Smith for her enlightening studies on testosterone levels, Professor John Doe for his sociological perspectives, and Dr. Emily Johnson for her critical insights on mental health. We also extend our gratitude to all the unnamed contributors who worked behind the scenes. We hope this video has given you food for thought. If it has, why not share it with others? Start a conversation, make your voice heard. Like this video if you found it informative, and if you haven't already, do subscribe to iHistory for more such engaging content. Remember to stay curious, keep learning, and join us on our next journey into history. Until then, this is iHistory signing off.